If you want to know why you dey feel the way they feel inside your mind, inside your brain, and generally why things dey the way they around you, Mind Clinic na the radio program we go teach you how to deal with all different types of stress and other things wey person dey go through. On top Mind Clinic, you fit talk about mind matter wey concern you directly or the one wey no even concern you directly.
A great philosophy once said, mental health is not a destination but a process. It's about how you drive, not where you're going to. Which is why Neem Foundation, in her wisdom, said, let us have a program every Wednesday morning discussing mental health. There are a lot of challenges Nigerians are faced with on a daily basis. Nigerians are very resilient, so they get to, overcome some of these challenges. Some others, it breaks them down. They cry indoors. When they come outside, they wear a smile. Maybe because Sia had once in her song said, you're never fully dressed without a smile. So they're somehow obeying her. On the show this morning, as usual, the ever amazing, very gracious, fantastic, always looking beautiful, Chinyere Goldens is in the studio.
Thank you. I live for your comments. Pick me up every morning. Good to be here.
Very glad that you're able to join us on the show this morning. Well, on the program today, we're looking at investing in your mental health as an individual.
That's correct.
It's important, really important. And no better person to help us with the conversation today than a young Nigerian who is dedicated to what he loves, photography. He is a portrait and wedding photographer. He's based here in Abuja. He has dedicated countless hours over the years learning and developing his skill set in photography by staying humble and striving to learn and improve on a consistent basis. He now mentors and shares his acquired knowledge with young and up-and-coming photographers at his annual Big H photography class. His ultimate goals are to create and encourage talented individuals in the art of photography and media production. He seeks to, create a caring and welcoming place where every individual is valued and in friendship through fun, learning and growing together. To provide and produce services of the highest industry standards, having the art of storytelling at his core. Our guest on the show this morning is a portrait and wedding photographer. Henry Nweze is our guest in the studio this morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
He's also known as the Big H. Very important, the Big H.
Thank you.
He's in the studio today.
Great. So it's it's great to have this conversation. Every month we try to have a theme for the conversation on Mind Clinic. And this month, in keeping with the Mental Health Day, which is the 10th of October every year, the theme for this year is greater investment, greater access. And we're looking at mental health for all. And at the end of the day, there are levels to investing in our mental health and accessibility of mental health to everybody. And we're starting from the basics today, which is the individual, you and I, So today's conversation is going to be very conversational. And we're just going to be talking as individuals about investing in our mental health and how we can do it and, share our tips and the things that we've done and get people to also call in and talk about and possibly share their tips so that somebody out there can learn from what we're talking about and also ask questions if need be. So let's get to it. I know I called Big H last week to have this conversation with him, and I'm really grateful that he took the time out to come out.
Thank you for having me.
What did you think about the topic when I talked to you about it? What did you think about it?
First of all, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. The first impression that I had, people would normally call me to speak on things that bordered on photography, mentorship, and all the likes. Not a lot of people would say to speak on mental health. So when I saw your message, one, it was long. Two, it was very technical, and I was like, oh my Lord, I didn't know whether to say no or yes, but I think it's definitely something that we should shed more light on, especially as we're speaking about it on an individual basis. There are so many people who have had to deal with it. There are people who are dealing with it. There are people who have survived, and there are people who didn't probably handle it better.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think there's no better time than now to speak on such issues.
100%. I know you're quite a busy person, and you're an entrepreneur. And for a lot of young people, it can be quite tasking and stressful to be an entrepreneur in Nigeria. How do you handle the stress of day-to-day work and balancing life?
I must confess that I'm probably doing better at handling it now than maybe 3 years ago, because part of entrepreneurship is you thinking that you can do everything by yourself, you understand, and having to juggle every single thing. You are the accountant, you're the photographer, you're the creative director, you're the person who is sorting out every single thing, you understand, and that can raise stress levels and also affect your mental health. So it affected my work-life balance. I wasn't always there for my kids and my wife, and I needed to address that, you understand. So I think it was Yasmin Starr, a photographer who also is big on work-life balance, who said, you know what, when you die, be remembered as a good father, a good friend, a good person, and not necessarily a good photographer. You understand? So I needed to put perspective, in what I think was important, and I have a fantastic team who helps to take the stress off me, and I'm learning to trust and delegate some of the things that I would normally do by myself to young creatives, you understand, and that has greatly helped me. Honestly, I'm doing a lot better now than I was like 4 years ago.
That's good too. It's about sharing the work. You can't carry everything on your head.
No,
you can't carry it all. Because if you do, it can be quite stressful. Victor, how do you manage the stress of being an OAP?
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes I think it's easy because you don't tend to see them that much.
Oh, okay.
You just hear them. That's what we think from the outside.
Yes.
I would like to hear
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so first off, with the job, you need to prepare. Because you can't even come on the radio and just begin to blab or just begin to talk. So I need to give the secret. It's called show prep. All right, so like a night before your show, you need to go research, gather as much facts as possible. And I don't know. I mean, everybody believes that you should know something. Something happens in Ondo. I'm in Abuja. Someone calls me up. Have you heard about it? What do you think about it? Maybe politically now, something happens. They said, what do you think about Wizkid and the comment he made about the president? They just want your opinion on some of these things because you need to put the facts out there as it's supposed to be. And so it tells that you must consistently read and stay updated because you're updating people. That's on one hand. And then you need to try to balance it with your personal life because it seems like it's work. Even when you're in your bed, you're still researching. You need to, keep tabs on what is happening in the country. And then, for instance, you're in a relationship. Most times it feels like you're giving too much to the job. And we do not even have long breaks. You can't even take, in some companies you're entitled to 18 days. So you need to take a break from work. It's not the same with the media, especially when you have a show that runs every day, so when you're off for a week or two, there are people who are attached to listening to you and they're like, what's up? Where's this person? Where's this person? Some of them who are so attached do not listen until you come back. Known fact, you get. And so most times too, when you just get to move, they are detached. That kind of thing. And then most times it feels like the people who do this job are stressed, really, and it shows sometimes. But in the normal, our young people grammar now, they say, what a man to do. You just have to do the job. You just have to do it, really.
Do you find it difficult to take breaks and find time for recreation?
Oh, really? I would love to take breaks, but for me personally, I try to sleep a lot. So I'm put together somehow, because I do know that at least out of the 24 hours in a day, you should get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I try as much as possible to do that. And that's the only way I've been able to stay healthy, active all through the year, no breakdowns and all that. Even whilst the pandemic was on, we were still working because we had permits to come to the station and all that. For some people, it was a holiday. They had to stay at home. It was a vacation and somehow just chill. But for some of us who were still working, you get what I mean? So the only way for me personally, how I try to rest is just take that sleep. 6 hours maybe. 6 hours.
Yeah.
Very important.
Definitely. So the interesting thing is we're all like in different fields, but you can see that there's still stress in everybody's life and different things that we do. And at the end of the day, we need to also make time for ourselves and our personal life and the things that are other things that are also important to us in our life. So let's talk about, we're talking about investing in our mental health, and the point I'm trying to drive through is that stress is one of the biggest things that we all go through as young people, as working people, as even older and, different age. It's not respective of age, but that we need to take some time to take care of ourselves. But there are possible hindrances to investing in our mental health and taking care of ourselves. So what have been the hindrances in your life, Vikich?
I think for me, it would be at the initial stage of my growth as a photographer, as an entrepreneur, just like I said earlier. I think for a lot of people, it would be the nature of their work.
Okay.
I mean, I was just listening to our honorable friend here, and I couldn't just imagine how much work he puts in trying to just stay abreast with, daily information and all of that, the amount of hours that he puts into research, even updating his grammar, at least that is definitely something that he does, you understand, because I'm sure he goes for voice training and all of that stuff. So work is a major hindrance, especially if you have the kind of work that allows you to be there 24/7. Also, for me, trying to put the name on the map, you haven't arrived yet. You understand? You can't just chill and sit down. So I knew that there was going to be a period where I would lose friends and not necessarily be there as much as I want to be there for my friends or family. But like I said, I am happier now, just from simple delegation, just from prioritizing what is important and understanding that, like we always say, last you can't kill yourself. Okay. You understand? So you need to learn how to manage your stress levels and the things that contributes to you having a lot of stress. Yeah,
definitely. Work can be one of the biggest hindrances when it comes to investing in mental health. It's so weird how it plays such a significant role in our life. It's very important for us to work, but at the end of the day also, the message underneath is that we have to find a way to
balance.
Exactly. Find the balance as much as we can. And we know that balance for you is different from balance for me, it's different for everybody. So whatever makes sense to you, whatever it is that makes sense to you when it comes to balance, that's what we want, because it's that balance that helps you stay mentally healthy. It's that balance that helps you deal with whatever life throws at you, because life is going to throw things at you, and that balance goes a long way to keeping you mentally healthy. Something that
sorry to cut you short, I just wanted to add that, when you're unable to take care of your mental health, it also affects the productivity levels to a certain extent. There are times where I felt so much stress as a photographer, a creative, a lot of what we do borders on trying to do new things, be extremely creative and all of that. When you're going through all that stress, one of the things that happens to me is I want to pick up my phone. That's where the next booking is coming from. But seeing all those phone calls affects me. Yeah. You understand? I'm like, what's this person going to say? Are they going to be rude and all of that? So when I noticed that it was affecting, my level of commitment to the work, I just gave the phone to somebody else. So during working hours, somebody picks up the phone. That just takes all the stress off me, and it allows me to just focus on. And then there are times where I feel like I'm having a shoot in 3 days, so I need to be able to put my mind in creating that image. I don't want to handle any other thing that is not related to the shoot. You understand? So I think it's also understanding yourself
100%.
the type of things that you know contributes to your stress level, the type of things that you know affect you mentally, and then just, putting a borderline on some of those things. It's a deliberate step that we need to take. It is not a drink water and be happy kind of thing. True. It is something that you have to do consciously over a period of time just to be better. It is also understanding that you need to be better for yourself. You need to be better for those who care and love you, your friends, your family, and you need to be better to be able to produce better results for your work or whatever it is that you do.
That's true. Thank you for that. Over to you, Victor.
Now, he's a creative. I'm a creative as well. Now, a lot of young people have gone past the stage where, we just depend on the norm. We like to break away from the norm. We like to think outside the box. For me, I consider what the listener wants to hear. Radio is evolving and you need to evolve as well. So you see that sometimes you hear people say, I like to listen to music. Now, what kind of music do you think they want to listen to? For some persons, they want to listen to reggae. Some others want to listen to, Afro pop. Some others, the old school music. How can you, have an infusion of all this music maybe so you can appeal to the listener's choice and so you stay relevant? You need to think of creative ways to come up with program ideas that is entertaining to the listener, that informs the listener, and is also of some sort educating the listener. And that's what we're doing right now, passing information that is educating the listener. And so, while you're thinking, if you're stressed, it doesn't, help your creativity. A lot of times, when you find yourself in that position where you're too tired to think, there are times like that. Or, there's something I call financial depression. I think everybody goes through that, yes. So when you get to that point where you are low on cash, you cannot just think about anything at all. And we all get there. We get to that point where you're in need of money. Maybe not for you, for a family member, a relative, someone just calls you and is in urgent need of something that, you begin to feel, I owe this person. You begin to beat up yourself. How do I? At that point, you're trying to raise the funds for the person. You can't even think of anything at that time. Do you get what I mean? So there are some times where you have to deal with that. And that's what I call personal. You have to deal with that and still try to put, the work together. Again, for a lot of us, I don't know where the name OAP came from. On-air personality. And so you need to live up to it. You have a personality out there. So you need, aside on air now.
I was just trying to crack a joke.
I get it. On air. Now, aside on air, with the advent of social media, a lot of people expect to see you. Now, there's this conventional saying that the OAPs just have a fine voice and they don't look good in person.
But with social media, we now put a face to you.
To the voice. And so everybody wants to look good. You don't want to repeat the same clothing. Do you get what I mean? Maybe especially for the ladies, you have to wear your makeup, and it's expensive, these things. So the pressure is just so much. They look at you, they say, your colleague is dressing really well, changes cars twice in a year, and all of these things, most times get into your head. Do you get? And it boils down to finance, like it or not. I think it's at this point I need to pause to say, the OAPs, or perhaps the major people, quote unquote, are not as rich as people perceive them to be. Forget about the plenty grammar and all that. A lot of people feel like, because you have access to meet with the vice president, you meet with ministers, you have so much money. And so some of your friends could just call you up and say, I need so amount of money. Now, because you want to, live up to that status. The first 3 times they call you, you might give the, handouts and all that. It gets to a point where you begin to think about your life and think about your future. This is not what you were created for. So, you begin to devise means of telling them very politely that I don't have. And still retaining that friendship, because there are some persons who forget about the other times you've been very nice to them. And so the one time you tell them that I don't have, it becomes a problem. And they say, he's very broke. It's very, and all of those things most times affect a lot of people. For me personally, I listen to what people say, but I do not let it get in, because I believe that it's like a boat. what makes a boat or a canoe sinks is not the people in it, but the water, the amount of water that gets into the boat, and then the weight of the people in it makes that particular boat to sink. So when you let all the negativities get into you, get into your head, it doesn't allow you to focus. I'm a positive person, and I try to accept just positivity and optimism, and that's what I stand for.
That's good. I mean, it's amazing to hear how we all try in different ways, in the small ways we can, to invest in our health. I think I like the fact that Big H mentioned it's the deliberate acts, the small things. It's not the big trip to somewhere expensive or going for like a 100 million. It's just the small things you do every single day, every single hour.
When you start to make it about those big things, then people believe that mental health is unattainable. You understand? And it is exclusively for the rich. When you start to say, take a trip to Hawaii, if you can't afford a trip to Hawaii, doesn't mean that I'm doomed in what it is that I'm going through. So I feel that we need to be more deliberate about communicating that these things are attainable within what you have around you, by first identifying the little things that cause the stress and cause you to be mentally unstable, so to say, or feeling some type of way about your mental health, and then addressing those little things step by step. You understand? For me, as much as COVID came with a lot of bad things, I still have God to thank for a lot of things that were right during the COVID season. You understand? And there were certain decisions that I took during the lockdown that I am reaping the benefits of. So it's the little things.
That's good. I'm glad you actually mentioned that. And that's what investment is actually about. It's about acquiring skills, or putting some time away, or putting some skills away for future, because that's what investment is about. Those things you learn now, they stand in, they come in the future to help you. And I'm glad that you actually mentioned it, and that's what it's about. In the course of our conversation, when we talk about mental health, there's a spectrum. There's some people that fall within the spectrum of that would require psychiatric medication and quite intensive care. And also for people in that category that are listening, in investing in your mental health, like we're talking about, is also about ensuring that you're going through your treatment procedures, ensuring that you're doing the lifestyle changes that are required of you, your therapy and your medication. Those are the things also that would be important for you as a person to do, to invest in your mental health if you are within the category of people that would require more in-depth mental health support. So if you're listening out there, remember that your treatment plan, your therapy, everything is quite very important for you to do as a person, to take those on board, to invest in your mental health. All right, so do we have any people online calling in?
Okay. So we'll open up the phone lines now so you can be part of the show. We would like to hear from you. How do you invest in your mental health? And I'll share mine with you in a moment. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Victor.
Good morning to you. All right, Femi, say hi to Chinyarugo in the studio.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. I don't know what
Big H, there's Big H here and there's Chinyarugo as well.
Okay, okay. Anyway, well, to me, to my own understanding of it, the way, so every can invest in his head, so concerning even sleeping of it, it matters a lot. You can sleep off 3 hours, so, and get better than even 8 hours without, so if you can sleep 3 hours without interrupting, so without your sleep, you can, so you can be okay. There's some 8 hours sleep that, you cannot be, feel comfortable because they interrupt your sleep, maybe, one thing or the other, call, all these things. And all those things, so it's part of the thing that, cause a lot of damage, breakdown, so for us, society. Because some people, so they believe, okay, this and sleep, it matters a lot. It's like part of the thing that God, so creates with us. With that, you can't sleep at all. When you sleep, you'll be okay, because I know that, then eating also. Because some people don't even have time, so work. They don't even know, so because many of the people that there is either in hospital or anything, so I wish they have a good food to chop. They'll be okay. They don't even so have any, so any challenges of all those things. So at least you need to encourage ourselves. I like, so this program because, so the educators, so many people, so like somebody like us, what we need to do, so concerning our life.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Femi, for your contribution there.
So that's actually a good one. And, I'm actually glad to hear the fact is, like you said, it's those small things.
Those small things.
And take
those
some
small
time
things.
out to rest, to
Those
sleep.
small
Those
things.
go a long way. They go a long way to making it easy for you to manage stresses of life.
We're still taking more calls and messages on the WhatsApp portal. How do you invest in your mental health? It's important. Let's hear from you. At least maybe 3 calls squeezing because of our time. I talk about self-love and self-care a lot. A lot of people would say, oh, most times when you hear self-care and self-love, oh, it's the women. That's a lie. That's a huge lie. Yeah, well, most times we attribute self-care and self-love to getting a massage, pamper yourself, and they feel like it's the ladies who get a massage a lot. Well, actually, the guys who don't get a lot of it. But, I mean, once. You get once. If you can, take out that 10,000, 15,000, pay and get a good body massage.
For somebody to press your body?
Exactly. That's what some guys will say. 15K. Wow. Why should I pay 15,000? I'm alright. I will take care of myself. Let this body pain continue. Exactly. Let's take more calls. I'll tell you more. Alright, so please let the calls come in. Let's find out how you invest in your mental health. What are those little things that you do? Most times, again, these cravings people have. You might have just this silly craving. You want to eat something. There's this thing you just want to eat and it feels like, it might affect you. Most times you see people eating the same things in their dream and they say, oh, it's spiritual and all that. If you have the money, why don't you buy it and eat it? Just on Sunday, I saw a video of Pastor Chris. He was saying, he was making a joke. He was talking about people who visited the different eateries. For instance, in Abuja. He said, have you been to? He said, I've been there. There's this new one. He said, I've been there. He said, you're not going. Stop going to all those places. What happens to you, saving some money to create one for yourself? Yeah. But hey, if you think that that's what makes you happy, please eat. Good morning.
This is Prince Ike on the line.
All right, Prince Ike, glad to have you join us.
Yeah, fine. I'm just calling from Karimas as normal and usual. Anyway, what somebody or myself normally do to improve and advance my mental health? Number one, I read a lot of books and also newspapers. It helped me to articulate and also develop and enhance my mental productivity, so sensitive and otherwise, because reading is a part of development, especially. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Your reading is a part of mental, mental advancement and also development. There is a time that somebody will reach the age and the stage of diminishing stage return. The person is going to be suffering from presbytopia. The person will not be able to reason very well. The ability of somebody to be reading and at the same time eating mostly vegetable and also fruit will help somebody to grow and also maintain his mental health care and also balance. That's my own take. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Susan in Katampe sends a message to us this morning and says, tell yourself something positive. It will help you boost your mental health. Write down something you're grateful for. It will also help you. That's good. I think I'll even comment on some of this very much later. We have another message here. It's from Emmanuel, no location. Emmanuel says, open up to someone. That's what he does. He opens up to someone and he takes a break. And I know that we've talked about that on the show before. Even at work, you don't need to wait for the lunch time. If you feel tired, fatigued, just move from your table. Be like Dorothy a bit. Play with people. Just gist. Just
someone said, create a line of communication. You shouldn't be a closed book. You shouldn't be the person that people can't reach or people can't access, because these are some of the things that further depreciate your mental health when, we know that things aren't going well and we can't reach out to you, we can't administer help and all of that. So if you have 10 friends, 100 friends, there should be one person who should be able to have access to you. There should be 1 or 2 people who you can trust with the information. The idea of I don't talk to people is long gone. It doesn't work anymore today, you understand? So create a healthy line of communication. For me, you understand, I give a lot of credence to my mom, you understand, during the time that I was battling this. You know, she stepped in, there were certain things that she noticed. My younger sister as well, you understand, and, you know, I found out that I didn't have that many friends who I was talking to. I had friends, but I didn't share. So now, whether I have a big problem or a small problem, I'm talking, I'm venting, I'm ranting, I'm just saying it because I noticed that the times where I kept all of this inside of me, it felt like it was a me against the world kind of thing. But when I shared with people, I felt like they knew what I was going through. I felt like, you know, they had taken the burden off me, you understand? And it just made me a lot better mentally. So creating a healthy line of communication. But the problem is that there are also the downsides to it, which is people don't want to share because they don't want to tell their business to other people who are going to tell their business to other people. You understand? Which is why I say it has to be a healthy line of communication. It has to be people that you trust. It has to be people that you know has the mind to help you. You understand? So I think that would
keep it confidential.
Yes, very important.
And then we hear people say that a man, or a boy rather, let's begin with a boy who is 12 or 13, something happens to him and you say, man up. He tries to explain something that happened in school to you and you say, shut up, those things. You're trying to shut the child from saying the important things to you even in the future. So because before he says those things, he begins to feel like, will daddy like what I want to say? Will mommy like what I want to say? Let them say those things. Just hear them out. First off, you know, build that relationship now between parent-child to the point where they are able and very comfortable to tell you stuff. I know a lot of my friends who tell me things and say, I cannot say it even to my family members. Now, because maybe you look at the family you're coming from, they say, all this mental health thing is not in our family. Well, you cannot be depressed, it's not in our family. But in all honesty, this person is going through a phase. Some other times, for guys, you know, we encourage men to speak up, not asking that you begin to rant all the time, you begin to talk too much, you go on a date with a girl, and all through the conversation for 1 hour, 50 minutes you were the one talking. In fact, 55 minutes you were the one talking. Nobody wants to be with you. Exactly. Exactly. So these are some of the things. I think she doesn't have anything to say. You're just the one talking. And some of these things you're talking about, uninteresting. You're talking about politics, you're talking about football, and then when they ask you, what do you know about your fiancé? You have nothing to say. Exactly. She didn't say anything to you. You don't know anything about her. Exactly. Okay, so in wrapping up, really, because of our time, just like one of the listeners had sent to us, positivity is really important. And I really know that how you think about yourself can have a powerful effect as to how you feel about yourself. So if you begin to think about yourself in a positive way, it will, you know, boost and improve your mental health. Like the other person said as well, writing down something you're grateful for. Many times when I get really upset about something, I try to write down 5 things or 5 reasons why I'm angry. And then I look at 10 other reasons. I try to create those 10 reasons. You know, like I'm trying to double, you know, the 5. So I'm trying to be grateful. There was a time I was so angry, not depressed, so angry about how things were. So I decided to write down, why am I angry? I was able to list 5. And I said, okay, intentionally, let me see if I'm able to list 10 things I'm grateful for, I'm thankful for in this very year. And I was able to, and it boosted, you know, my mood for a bit. I was excited that, oh, okay, so there are some things I'm really, really grateful for. In as much as we advise you to eat a good meal, you should plug in some exercise. It's important. You should plug in some exercise into your daily routine or weekly routine. You think that you've gotten to a point in your life where you have all you have always prayed for and wanted. AC house to AC car, AC office and all that. You don't even take strolls. It's taking, you know, a toll on your body. And over the years, you'd see the negative impact of what you've done to yourself. Now, I'm not someone, if you see my older brothers, all buffed. I mean, the guys who constantly work out. I'm not built to. I tell them from time, over 10 years down, it's not me. So what I can do is walk for an hour, 2 hours every Saturday morning. I would take a long walk, and it works. It helps you. You'd come back sometimes and you're shredding. You've lost, a few pounds here and there. It's important, especially for people who want to plug in some workouts but feel lazy, just like myself. And just like we've spoken here, open up to someone. It's important. And a good vacation. We can't overestimate or, talk about that. Most times you feel like it's expensive to get to Dubai. And you see some people go there and you feel like, how did this person get this money? It's planning. There are some people who take out.
Well, we can start with Obudukatu.
Exactly.
Or there is this place in Zumarok or something.
The Zuma,
Let's start with the ones that we can access.
Just go out. Go out a bit with some friends that you like. The ones you can discuss, reminisce on good times. I travel a lot most times because I know that I can't take a long vacation. I can't take leave from work. I just take some weekends, run away. I go to Lagos. Not so far. Just go there. Off work, off your phone, sleep. If you can.
Yeah.
Do you get? If you're in Abuja, you might be tempted.
Yeah.
You might be tempted. So just try. All of this will help improve your mental health.
100%. This has been a great conversation. I don't even know if I have anything to add to it to wrap it up, but I know we've said so many things. The bottom line is that, a lot of the times you have to do the work for yourself to take care of yourself. And, we've listed different things that you can do: self-care, communication, lifestyle changes that are healthier. And I'd like to encourage everybody to take that time out to invest in your mental health, invest in yourself. It's the small things you do every single day that, that go a long way to making sure that you're managing the stresses of life. Because these stresses are always going to be there, but we have to find a way to deal with it and to manage it. And if you at any point feel like you're struggling and you have done everything that you can, professional help is out there. Please reach out to us. I'm going to leave my number for you to contact us at Neem Sanctuary. Hold on, let's find that number.
Okay, so Mohammed in Kubwa sends a message on WhatsApp. He says, wonderful conversation. When you have sound health, you have everything.
That's brilliant. So the number to reach us on is 0706 062 5054. The number again is 0706 062 5054. And please remember that this number is just for psychological support, and that's all we offer.
We must thank you very much, Henry Mweze, Big H, for being a part of the show today.
Thank you for having me.
He's a portrait and wedding photographer.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
But I'm not a specialist on mental health. I don't want people sending me messages. I'm just a photographer.
You can always direct them to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Chinyere Goldensi, thank you very much for coming up with amazing conversations as this one.